It is October. The government has not shut down. This is great news. And I want to welcome everybody. And I'm going to talk about a bunch of things this morning. But one of the things I really want to talk about today, the topic of this video, is going to be the I-864 joint sponsorship. If you're trying to get a green card through family-based petition, you have to contend and deal with the affidavit of support. You have to. That's the way it is. And the only way that you're going to deal with the affidavit of support is if you have a sponsor that meets the sponsorship requirements, or you have a joint sponsor. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Post your questions, everybody. Post your questions. I want to hear them. Let me know how it's going. So if you don't know me, I'm Josh Goldstein. I'm an immigration lawyer. I'm based in Los Angeles. Our firm also has an office in Los Angeles. And we help people across the country and around the world reach their immigration goals. And one of the obstacles that stands in the way of your goal is the affidavit of support. But another obstacle, and I just want to mention this today, another obstacle is the government shutdown. So I made a video on YouTube about a possible government shutdown and how that would impact your immigration case. And I got a bunch of people who commented about the government shutdown. They said, well, the government didn't shut down, right? And that's true. But there's something I want you to know, that the political mechanism that prevented the government from shutting down only lasts for a short period of time. So at the end of November, or at some point in November, we're going to have to be dealing with a potential government shutdown again. And as long as the Republicans have political power, there is going to be the possibility of a shutdown. And the Republicans control the House of Representatives. So everything I said in my YouTube video about a potential government shutdown and how that could impact your immigration case is relevant and is going to be something you can refer back to time and time again. Thank you so much for joining. We are live. So let's talk a little bit about the I-864, the affidavit of support. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. Now, before we talk about the joint sponsor and the joint sponsor requirements, what you need to know in general is that everyone who's a petitioner in a family-based immigration case, hello, Florida. Good to see you. I always love your family, and it's great that you joined live. But everyone in a family-based immigration case, the petitioner, the visa petitioner, has to file an I-864, an affidavit of support, even if the income requirements are not sufficient. Okay, you have to file an I-864. Now, what happens if the petitioner's income is insufficient? And then how do you move forward with the case? Well, in that case, you need to have a joint sponsor. Now, here are the requirements for the joint sponsor. The joint sponsor can be anyone who is a permanent resident or a U.S. citizen. Okay? The person has to live and be domiciled and actually reside physically in the United States. So if you live outside the United States, you can't be a joint sponsor. The third thing is that the person needs to have a sufficient income as per the I-864 requirements. And we'll talk more about that in a second. And then finally, they have to be willing to sign the form and submit the appropriate documentation. Those are the requirements. Now, I can give you my advice based on more than 20 years of practicing immigration law. I can give you my advice on how, what you should look for in a joint sponsor. And the first thing is to have the right mindset. When you're looking for a joint sponsor, you're looking for someone who is motivated to help you out. You know what I mean? Somebody who cares about you as a person and who wants you to succeed. You want somebody who wants to help you. If you have somebody who's willing to be a joint sponsor and I just had some question. Josh, you said if my U.S. citizen is ugly, we can't get a green card because my husband is not cute. I'll be denied. That is not something I said. No, but that's funny. But what I was going to say is you're looking for someone that's going to help you. Sometimes we get potential people who they want to serve as affidavit of support. They want to have a meeting with me, and they want to ask all these technical questions about the responsibilities and requirements of a joint sponsor. And when I see that sort of thing, I know that that person's not going to work out. Because if somebody starts asking sharp questions about, okay, well, what's my liability? What's my exposure? What could go wrong? What are the problems here? The person's not going to do, it's not going to do it. They're not going to be your affidavit support sponsor. They won't. You want somebody who wants to help you and is like, yeah, I'll sign the paperwork. I know you need my help. Whatever you need, I'm going to do it. Okay. So that's who you want. Second thing, you want someone who has a job. Okay. What does it mean to have a job? That means that they have an employer and they are an employee. There is an employer-employee relationship. If you have your own business, you don't have a job. You have a business. If you're retired, you don't have a job. You're retired. If you won the lottery and you have $100 million, you don't have a job. You have a lot of money. So you want somebody who has a job. And why is it that you want somebody who has a job? Why not find someone who's wealthy, who owns a business and all that? That's because the affidavit of support requirements are minimal. They require a minimum level of income. And if you find someone who's really wealthy, who has a lot of money and who has their own business, their tax return is very complicated. And there's a lot of deductions and schedules and things like that. And it doesn't work as well. Is it impossible? No, but it doesn't work as well. I think you want somebody, if you have a friend who works at McDonald's 30 hours a week, that person probably has enough income to meet the requirements. If you find the richest person you know who owns car dealerships and apartment complexes and so on, their tax returns might show a loss, and then it won't work. Those are the main requirements and suggestions that I have. Now, joining me to discuss this is our good friend, Halle. Welcome.
Thank you, Josh. Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
You look fantastic, and I love your background. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, of course. That's a great topic. I received many questions about the sponsorship and the documents and enough income, and you mentioned great points.
Okay. Let me know what questions do you think people have about this? Do you have them? Let's get right into it.
Yeah, of course. The first question is, my brother is my sponsor. He sent me a few paychecks, and I'm not sure how many paychecks should I upload in STUCK website.
How many paychecks?
Yeah.
Well, off the top of my head, I don't know the answer to that question. That's too technical. But what you need to know, first of all, your sponsor does not have to be your brother. Okay, I want to be clear about that. Your sponsor does not have to be your brother. Your sponsor can be anyone. Doesn't have to be related to you. It can be anyone who's in the US who meets the other requirements. And the second thing, in terms of the documentation itself, you have to include tax returns for at least the previous year. I like to include 3 years. Now, I'll give you a little more advice on that. I like to include the tax transcript rather than a copy of the tax return. Tax transcripts are better than the tax return. Why is that? Well, first of all, they're certified as received by the IRS. Okay, so if you send a copy of your tax return, maybe you're missing part of it. Maybe you're missing the schedule, and then there's going to be more back and forth. If you get the tax transcripts directly from the IRS, it'll go through. And the magic number that you're looking for is the adjusted gross income. for the most recent tax year. Now, if your tax return showed for the most recent tax year, which right now would be 2021. So if you had adjusted gross income in 2021 that was sufficient, you make it. If your adjusted gross income was below the threshold, you don't make it. Now, people always ask me, well, how much income do I need to show? And the answer is, it depends. It depends on the tax year. So 2021 is different than 2022 and so on. And secondly, it depends on your family household size based on the calculation. So if you are married and you have 9 kids, then you need a different amount of income, more income than if you're a single person. But the answer to that question, how many, what was it? How many
paychecks?
Yeah, I don't actually know. I think the most recent several, but I'm just guessing. I'd have to look it up, and I will.
Yeah.
All right. Let's try another one.
Yeah, can I translate that
Yes,
to our
please.
impressions?
Also I see Hamza, you have a question, and Abraham from Facebook, you have a question. I'm going to try to get to all those questions. So stick around. I'll answer them next, okay?
That's great. دوست عزیزی پرسیدن که برادر ایشون اسپانسرشون هستن و به عنوان مدارکی که تمکن مالی رو نشون بدن چند تا فیش حقوقی برایشون فرستادن و سوالشون این هستش که توی سایت سیاک چند تا فیش حقوقی باید آپلود کنن. آقای جوش توضیح دادن که مدرک اصلی که شما باید آپلود کنید به عنوان از طرف اسپانسرتون تکس ترانسکریپت هستش که ایشون پیشنهاد میکنن این مدرک رو آپلود بکنید به جای تکس ریترن، دقیق تر هستش. و در مورد پیچک ها هم میتونید که چند تا پیچک آخر رو آپلود کنید و اینکه برای تکس ترانسکریپت هم میتونید که برای سال آخر رو بذارید، اگر دسترسی دارید برای 3 سال گذشته رو آپلود کنید. Okay, perfect. That's great.
All right. So let me just take a moment to, can you hear me?
Sure.
Let
Yeah.
me just take a moment to answer a couple of questions from our friends here. And I want to welcome all of our friends who are joining us today. We are live everywhere, really. We're live on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We have a Facebook group with more than 10,000 members dedicated to visa delay issues. We're live there, and we're here to answer any questions everyone have. We also are live on LinkedIn and Twitter or X, whatever they're calling it. We're live there. Now, Hamza, thank you for your question. It's a great question. Are you going to talk about a case sent back to USCIS for revocation? The answer is yes. So if you have specific questions about that, let me know. But let me talk a little bit about that. So you're applying for a visa, you're going for the visa, and you have an interview. At the interview, you don't get approved, you don't get the visa. Instead, the consulate says your case is going to be sent back to the Department of Homeland Security for possible revocation. What does this mean? What can you expect? What do you need to know about it? Okay, here's what it is. First of all, if you have a fiance visa and your case is over, when they send it back to USCIS for revocation, for DHS for revocation, it is revoked, done, over, game over. Because you're going to get a letter in the mail that says your case is denied because it was expired. I know that's ridiculous, but if you have a fiance visa, just get married and refile. Don't even mess around with that. Now, if you have any other type of family-based case, what will happen is USCIS will issue to the petitioner a letter, and the letter is called Notice of Intent to Revoke. In that letter, they outline the derogatory information, the negative information, the reasons why they plan to try to revoke your visa petition that was approved. And they will give you an opportunity to respond. Now, helping people respond to notices of intent to revoke is something that my office does to help people. We don't always take on these cases. We're very picky about them, and that's because they're really hard to get approved, but it is possible. Now, Hamza, this is something that we possibly could help you with if you reach out to us. It says, my case was sent back to USCIS. I have an I-130 and we have 2 kids together with my wife. Okay, well, there's something, the officer didn't have a full interview with me. Also, she didn't look at all my documents. I'm lost. I don't know what to do. Well, I don't know what to tell you. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with your case. Typically, it's that the consulate doesn't believe that your marriage relationship is genuine. But Hamza, if you have 2 kids, there's no denying that you have a genuine relationship, I would think. So what I want you to do is I want you to reach out to me, my friend, and I'm going to put my email on here for you. I'm going to put it here. It's joshua@jgoldlaw.com, joshua@jgoldlaw.com. And I want you to reach out to us. And this is something that we could potentially help you with. Now, I have another question here from our friend Ibrahim, who says, how long would I have to wait? On my green card visa interview was in February 2021. I have had an affidavit for my birth certificate and a copy of, let's see, it says a photocopy of my wedding certificate with my wife in the US. I was asked to bring them as fast as possible, but I'm still waiting. The visa tracker shows updates from time to time. It's now changed to expiring soon. What could be happening? I don't know, my friend. I'm sorry. We have a lot of solutions for people who have delayed cases, and I want you to reach out to us as well. You can go to our website, which is www.jgoldlaw.com. That's another way to find us. Hamza says, I reached out to you, but I can't have your assistance. Or not allowing me to meet with you. They told me they can't help with this case. It's sent for revocation. Well, I don't know if that's true. First of all, our office we have directors of client engagement who meet with people who are interested in our help, who have questions. So a member of my team trained by me is going to be ready to meet with you. And when it's a case that's sent for revocation, what we're waiting for is a letter called Notice of Intent to Revoke. If you don't yet have that letter, then we can't help you. It doesn't mean that we don't want to help you. It's just that if you don't have the Notice of Intent to Revoke, then it's very hard for us to do this. Great. So Hale, why don't you hit me with more questions?
Yeah, of course. Let's do this. The next question is, it's been a year. All of my mother's documents have been accepted, but I received a message that says you should resubmit a document. I guess they need a sponsor's new tax return, but I don't have access to upload any documents.
Okay, so the person's mother's case has been delayed for a long time. They got notification from the consulate to update their documents, right? And then the person says they don't have access to the joint sponsor's documents. Is that right?
Yeah, there isn't any option available on SIAC website to upload a new document.
Okay, so is it that they don't have access to the joint sponsor's documents, or they don't technically know how to upload them?
Yeah, I think their access to upload new documents is closed. Maybe they should send an email to NBC to open their access.
To be honest, I am stumped on that one too. Holly, you got me caught today. I don't know. Like, I've been practicing immigration law for so long that sometimes these technical questions like this, I'm not quite sure. But if it's just like how to manipulate the website, to be honest, I don't know.
No, I actually no problem. I heard that some of our friends have the same problem, and they asked embassy with Ask Embassy form to give them access, and then they can upload a new document on joint sponsor section.
All right, that sounds good. Let me take a question from YouTube right now.
Uh-huh.
Question from our friend Shazid Afridi says, I have taken 6 years of IRS. Should I take them all to my interview? Okay, that's a great question. The question is, should you take 6 years of IRS tax transcripts to your interview? And the answer is, first of all, in general, you have two choices when it comes to documents. One, take them with you to the interview. And the other is to leave them at home and don't bring them to the interview. My general approach, what I generally recommend that you do, is you bring every document that you have with you to the interview. Everything, bring it all with you. Every shred of paper that has anything possibly to do with your immigration case should be brought to your interview. Now, to answer your question, I don't believe that it's necessary to bring 6 years of tax returns to the interview. Typically, I only recommend 3. But if you have any doubt, bring it.
Yeah, perfect. Actually, it's very unfortunate to get the interview, but have some missing documents. So that's a great suggestion. Yeah. Actually, I remember that I brought thousands of papers with myself at my interview in Yerevan, and it felt confident when I had everything.
Yeah, because there is some uncertainty about what they're going to ask you for. And if you bring every shred of paper with you, every single piece of paper that has anything to do with your immigration case, then whatever they ask you for, you're going to have it. Let's go back to Hamza again for a follow-up. I told him that we could only help him respond to the notice of intent to revoke when he gets the letter. He said, yes, I heard that the letter takes forever for USCIS to send. That's true. He says, we have urgency. What other options do you have? I've been calling them, and it's been more than 4 months. Hamza, I want you to email me directly, and I'm going to put my email on here. It's joshua@jgoldlaw.com. Send me an email, and I will personally respond to you. I have some ideas for you. So I think that would be a good plan. Lots of great questions from TikTok. Babe Yaga 1, we did a Stokes interview in New York, no discrepancy, but the officer said I need a supervisor to review. What to expect next? I expect a long delay, unfortunately. I think that you may be someone who they think, because they gave you a Stokes interview, is sort of like a game show where you and your spouse are separated and put in different rooms. And they ask you questions to see if your answers matched. What color toothbrush do you have? What side of the bed do you sleep on? What color is your, blah, 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 blah. And they see if you get them right. And that's probably done because they suspect fraud. But Hale, why don't you ask me some more questions?
Yeah, let me pick a good one. The next question is that I'm applying for my parents.
Okay.
We've decided to my husband be their sponsor. Since we file taxes jointly, who should file I-864? Should I file a separate one?
Okay, let me see if I understand this question correctly, which I don't now. This person is someone's petitioning for their mother?
Yeah, their parents, mother and father.
Okay, a woman is petitioning for her mother and father. And the question is, who has to file the affidavit of support?
Yeah, actually, her husband will be their joint sponsor.
Okay.
Yeah, who should file I-864? Both of them, or only her husband?
So the question is, who files the I-864? Is it the visa petitioner or the joint sponsor? And the answer is the following. Every single immigration case, family-based immigration case, that requires an affidavit of support, the visa petitioner must file the I-864, okay? You must file it. Even if the income is not sufficient, you have to file the I-864. If the income is not sufficient, you may need a joint sponsor. And if you need a joint sponsor, then the visa petitioner would file the I-864 that is not sufficient. And in addition to that, the affidavit of support would also have to be filed from someone else.
Oh, okay. And how about I-864A? Because they're filing their taxes jointly.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, if they live together and they're filing their taxes jointly, they're part of the same household, then it would be the I-864A.
Oh, perfect. دوست عزیزی پرسیدن که ایشون برای پدر مادرشون دارن اپلای میکنن و تصمیم گرفتن که همسر ایشون اسپانسر مالی بشن یا جوینت اسپانسر بشن چون درآمد خودشون کافی نیست و اینکه ایشون و همسرشون تکسشون رو با هم فایل میکنن. پرسیدن که کی باید فرم I-864 پر کنه. پاسخ این هستش که خود پتیشنر که شخص اپلای کننده است باید این فرم رو پر کنه و اگر تکسشون رو با هم دارن پر میکنن فرم I-864A هم باید پر بشه. Okay, perfect, Josh.
Right.
Let me invite our friends to our Telegram channel. دوستان عزیز ما یک کانال تلگرام داریم. آیدیش هست Visas for Iranians. شما میتونید اونجا جوین بشین، از محتوا استفاده کنیم و سوالاتتون رو از ما بپرسید. That's great.
All right, so I have one question here from YouTube. The question is, how do we apply for an investment green card? So an investment green card, I'm not an expert on these things, but basically you have to have a large sum of money, $1 million or $500,000 or $800,000, something like this. And then you need to find a regional center. There's some sort of investment program that can help you do this. But I'm not an expert on these things. And if you email me at joshua@jgoldlaw.com and you're interested in getting a green card through an investment, I could refer you to someone who handles cases like this. Now, Hale, we have a Telegram channel with content in Farsi, and this is geared toward the Persian community, and it's a lot of information that we don't share anywhere else. I'm going to post it on. I'm going to post the Telegram channel on all of our places here.
Yes,
and it's Visas for Iranians. That's the name of it, and it's something I'm really proud of, and Hale is as well. And so we hope you connect with us there. It's free.
And you can send us your questions, and please feel free to join, and we are here to answer your questions.
All right.
You want me to ask the next question?
Okay, here's one. This is a really good one. Wait.
Okay.
Maddie says, would a bankruptcy case cause a rejection for sponsorship if the sponsor still makes enough money on taxes? That's a great question. And the answer is no. That's because you'll notice on the I-864, there are no questions about bankruptcy. The I-864 is about whether you meet the requirements on the I-864. And those requirements are live in the US citizen or green card holder, sufficient income, the correct documents, signature on the I-864 form. It doesn't have anything to do with whether you have a bankruptcy. So that's a different matter. Chalk and cheese, not the same.
Nice.
All right, Hale, what do you got for me?
Okay, the next question is that if I get a student loan and come back to Iran after finishing my study, will my sponsor be responsible for my loan?
So you're asking a question about whether someone would be responsible for a student loan and so on?
Yeah.
So I am an expert on certain immigration topics. I know a lot about them. But if you ask me about what the best recipe is for a gluten-free blueberry muffin, I don't know the answer. If you ask me about student loans,
Oh, no, it's about
I don't
the
know.
responsibility of a sponsor. You know, someone has a sponsor in the US and she get a student loan. And after finishing her study,
Okay,
she
hold
wants
on a
to,
minute. Time out. What does a student loan have to do with immigration?
you know, someone has green card here and got a student loan, and she wants to know if she come back to Iran, is there any responsibility for her sponsor to pay the loan?
I have no idea, but I can tell you this. A student loan has absolutely nothing to do with the sponsorship obligations that we're discussing here.
Uh-huh.
I don't
Okay.
know. But the terms of the loan are quite different and how that works and so on. Now, what is relevant and what is important to know are what the terms of the I-864 is. It's a contract. So, for example, if you get married and you petition for your spouse to get a green card through marriage, you have to file an I-864. Okay, that's a contract between you and the government. It obligates you to make certain support payments. And if you don't do that and you get a divorce, then the I-864 can be enforced in federal court or in family court. They can actually sue you to recover the money that you're obligated to pay as per the I-864. And you could also sue the joint sponsor and make the joint sponsor pay. So it's a serious obligation to be a joint sponsor. I have a friend and professional colleague named Greg McLaughlin, and his practice of law is suing I-864 people who sign the I-864 and their joint sponsors. He sues them to enforce the contract. And it's serious stuff. What?
That's very unfortunate, yeah. Because
Yeah.
the responsibility of a sponsor is not clear for everyone. They have questions what kind of responsibility they have,
Yeah.
what kind of obligation,
Well,
Uh,
let's talk more about that because I think that's a very important topic.
yeah.
If you are a visa petitioner, you have to sign the I-864. Even if you don't have enough money, you have to sign the I-864. And if you don't have enough money, you need a joint sponsor. So anyone who signs the I-864 form has certain obligations, okay? And they're very serious and they're enforceable in court. And if you want to know what those obligations are, you need to read the contract very, very carefully. But there are circumstances where this contract can be enforced and they can make you pay money damages. Okay? So it is serious. It is very, very serious form. And sometimes people who are going through this process ask me to talk to their joint sponsors and to advise them on their legal obligations. I can't do that because I have a conflict of interest. I represent the petitioner and I can't represent someone
Yeah.
else. So I
Yeah.
usually can refer them to someone else to talk about that. You should be the affidavit of support petitioner if you want to help someone out. But it is potentially in some circumstances a serious obligation. All right, let's go on. More questions. Holly,
Yeah, sure. Of
I'll even know
course.
the answer to them.
Yeah, sorry for that. I received hundreds of questions, and For today's topic, the next question is my co-sponsor doesn't work anymore, and so I need to add or replace another co-sponsor. I'm not sure how can I do that.
Well, again, this isn't a good question for me because there's a technical way to switch them out, and it depends on the nature of the case. If it's an affidavit of support going for a adjustment of status case, it's different than a visa case, and the consulates all differ, so it's kind of case specific. So let's switch to a different question. I'm going to take this one. Tina says K1 visa or CR1, which is better or quicker? There's no such thing as quicker when it comes to immigration. But I have a YouTube video on our YouTube channel where I made a full video where I explore this in depth because it's not particularly clear. The benefits for each approach are not clear. But if you want my general advice, I like marriage better. I think it's better. But there are some circumstances where a fiance visa might make more sense. Here's another question from TikTok. After my husband's interview, his case was sent back to USCIS. We are looking at years more. Well, I have a lot of ways that I can help you. This is Brenna number 3. I have a lot of ways I can help you. Don't get discouraged. You can get this approved. First of all, we have to understand, why was the case sent back to USCIS? Is there a problem with some aspect of your case? Can you identify the problem? Secondly, you could file a new case, or you could file a way to respond. There's lots of things you can do. I want everyone out there who's discouraged to know that you can reach your goal. Sometimes it's not easy, but you can do it. Halle, your case, for you personally, your journey took a long time, right?
Yeah, actually, it took 11 years. And
11 years, right?
Yeah, 11 years for my case was F2B, and after that it converted to F1. And Josh, many times I was thinking maybe I will never get my visa, but now I got it. I got my green card as well. I work here, and I think it's a matter of time. And
yeah, I mean, you have to be determined to reach your immigration goals. Sometimes it means you have to hire a lawyer to manage your case. Sometimes it means you have to file a lawsuit to challenge a delay. Sometimes it means you have to wait. In Holly's case, it took 11 years. But you have to know that the juice is worth the squeeze. And at the end of all this hassle, you have a life of opportunity here in the U.S. And
many opportunities.
Yeah. All right, let's take some more questions. And if you have a question that is not kind of like more high level, would be better.
Oh my God,
Like, so then, like how do you use a website? Would not.
Are you kidding me? Okay, sure. Someone asked that my mother applied for me, but she doesn't work and she doesn't have tax return. Should she send me a letter about this?
Okay, so someone's mother applied for them.
Yeah.
But the mother doesn't work.
As the sponsor, should she upload any letter from her that she says that maybe I don't work and I don't pay taxes or anything?
Yeah, so again, if you are a visa petitioner, if you apply for a family member, you have to file the affidavit of support. It's a requirement. You have to file it even if you don't meet the sponsorship requirements. If you don't meet the sponsorship requirements, you need a joint sponsor. But in this case, the question is, what documents do you upload if you have no income or you've never filed a tax return?
Yeah.
I think a letter saying I have not worked and have no tax return would be sufficient. But along with that, you're going to need a joint sponsor.
پرفکت. دوست عزیزی پرسیدن که مادرشون براشون اپلای کردن ولی ایشون کار نمیکنن و تکس پرداخت نمیکنن، به همین خاطر سوالشون هستش که چه مدرکی رو باید ایشون آپلود کنن. پاسخ این هستش که یک نامه باید بنویسن و همراه با تاریخ ذکر بکنن که ایشون کار ندارن و درآمد ندارن، به همین خاطر هست که تکس نمیدن و همون نامه رو آپلود بکنن. Okay, that's great. Many questions from our audience in Telegram.
Excellent.
I think it's a very good opportunity that they can ask their questions from you.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Okay. I got these questions about how much income is enough to sponsor my fiance?
Okay. So this is a great question. And the question is, how much income do you need? Okay. And the answer is, it depends. So what does it depend on? Well, there's a form, and you can find this online. It's called the I-864P, as in Paul. Okay. And that shows you the minimum guidelines. Now, when it comes to the I-864, this is a pass-fail test, right? So if you have $1, if you have the exact amount required or $1 more, you're good. If you have $1 less than the minimum amount, then you're not going to make it. So it doesn't help you if you have someone who makes $10 million a year. It's not going to be better. It's either pass or fail. That's another thing. But if you look at the I-864P, they'll show you the poverty guidelines, and you can work it out on your own. And it's pretty straightforward. It's based on your household size. So take a look at those requirements and see if you have specific questions. But that's how it is. And every year, the amount that you make goes up a little bit. The requirements go up a little bit. But they're very minimal. Almost any job in the United States, any full-time job, will meet these requirements.
Okay, perfect. دوست عزیزی پرسیدن که چقدر درآمد لازمه که من بتونم اسپانسر نامزدم بشم. پاسخ این هستش که یک پاورتی گایدلاین وجود داره که شما طبق اون در واقع میتونید ببینید که حداقل میزان درآمد چقدر هست و اکثر کارهایی که توی امریکا فول تایم هستن این مینیموم رو شامل میشن و یک فرمی هست تحت عنوان I-864P که توی اون فرم شما میتونید حداقل درآمدی که برای اسپانسری لازم هستش رو ببینید. Perfect.
Okay, I have a question here, a really good question from TikTok. It says, can you expedite an approved immigrant visa F2B case priority from February 2016? So let me tell you what the answer is. We cannot expedite your case, but what we can do is we can help you if your case has not been processed within a reasonable period of time. That's what we can do with our mandamus lawsuits. Now, one of the requirements for the mandamus lawsuit is that you have to have a case that's approvable. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that if I look at the visa bulletin and I look at your country and I look at your priority date and I look at the current visa bulletin, it has to show that you're current. Because if you're not current, your case is not approvable. The immigration system in the United States is completely absurd, in my opinion. And if you are, for example, if you're a brother, if you apply for your brother and you're from the Philippines, it might take more than 30 years to get that case approved.
Oh my God.
Would someone even live that long? I don't even know, depending on their age, right? So if I were designing the immigration system, I would let people get green cards much faster. But if you're not sure whether your case would be a good fit for our mandamus lawsuits, whether we can help you, then the best thing to do is go to our website. And I put it on the screen above my head, www.josh.law. Go there, and there's a quiz you can take. And if you qualify, you can get a free strategy session with our team, with one of our directors of client engagement. And we're going to tell you straight up whether we can help you. If we can help you, we will. And if we can't help you, we will also tell you that as well.
Oh, makes sense. That's great, Josh.
All right. You got any other questions for me?
Yeah, of course. Someone asked us, my mother has an interview this week. My income and my job changed, and actually has been changed. And should I update DS-260 form or any related sponsorship related forms?
So when this person this person says that the question is, their mother has a visa interview coming up and their income is no longer sufficient, right?
She changed her job and her income has been changed. So she wants to know that should she update DS-260 form or I-864 form?
Is her income no longer sufficient?
I'm not sure about that.
I think it's a good idea to update the affidavit of support in the DS-260. It's usually required to update it before the interview. I would do that. And if her income is not sufficient, then she needs a joint sponsor. But I would sort that out before the interview.
Yeah, because it's only a week.
Yeah, well, the problem is if you don't have that sorted out and you go to the visa interview and the officer's like, wait a minute, your I-864 is no good, then they'll give you a request to submit a new I-864 or joint sponsor. And if you do that, then the case will go into administrative processing and you'll be in a dark, dark hole.
Yeah, I see. یکی از دوستان پرسیدن که مادرشون هفته آینده مصاحبه دارن و از اونجایی که ایشون شغلشون رو عوض کردن و درآمدشون تغییر کرده، آیا لازم هستش که فرم DS-260 رو یا فرمای دیگر رو آپدیت کنن؟ پیشنهاد میشه که فرم I-864 رو آپدیت کنید و همینطور اطلاعات شغل جدیدتون رو توی DS-260 آپدیت کنید. اگر که درآمد شغل جدیدتون کافی نیست، میتونید یعنی باید یک جوینت اسپانسر معرفی بکنید. Okay, that's great. Good to know that.
Here's a great question from on Instagram from Sarush Khan. It says, do I absolutely need to bring in JS civil documents to the interview if the documents have already been uploaded to SEAC portal and have been approved by the National Visa Center? Well, if you're asking me for my professional advice, I would say you should absolutely bring those original documents to your interview. And if you're saying, do I absolutely need to bring them? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they might not be necessary, but wow, what a mistake if you don't bring them. Get those documents and get them and bring them to your interview. Don't hope that they won't be needed. Be diligent. Do it right. Take it seriously. These interviews are magical moments. People wait years, even decades to get an interview. If you get an interview and you don't do everything possible to make sure that's successful, then you're wasting you could be wasting an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, actually, it's very important to totally be ready and bring everything with you. You know, when I went to Armenia embassy, some of the applicants didn't bring the birth certificate of the petitioner. So
Right.
all of them came back to Iran, and it
Yeah.
wasting time.
Yeah. All because they didn't bring the birth certificate.
Yeah, birth certificate of the petitioner.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would bring birth certificates, passports for anyone related to the case, marriage certificates, divorce certificates, criminal record documents, um, name change certificates. Bring it all. Bring everything. Don't
Yeah,
leave anything
it's
behind.
really important. Yeah.